Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, man? You fired up today?
I'm doing, dude. I'm doing, and I'm fired up, but not for the right reasons. And
Yeah,
I
man.
have this taste in my mouth, and I'm ready to.
All right, man. Yeah, today's episode's really one we've been expecting, one we've been waiting for all since the World Cup ended for Mexico. They have finally, officially, non-officially, it's gotten out that they have hired a coach, Diego Cocca, the Tigres head coach that's been with Tigres for like a month, if that. Um, this news hasn't really been made by the federation yet, by la Federación Mexicana, but we're still waiting for that official announcement, which we pretty sure we're going to get soon. I think that we're saying tonight. So yeah, the El Coca kind of came out of nowhere, man. Last week we were kind of discussing, it was down to two candidates, El Piojo Herrera y Almada. And all of a sudden, earlier this week, we kind of heard that there was like six candidates now. They were looking at Nacho Ambriz, they were looking at Mojamon, Diego Cocca, Marcelo Bielsa, and Piojo and
Mhm.
Almada. Um, which kind of goes to show you that the Federación is kind of just throwing darts, aren't they? They kind of just trying to see
Yeah.
where it sticks. They kind of don't have a plan, do they?
No, yeah, no sabe lo que quiere. Doña Fede doesn't know anything about what he wants or uh, anything about the future of eltri. Is I wish we were making this podcast under different circumstances, and we were saying that either I don't know Almada or Nacho Ambriz were to be El Tri's next coach, but Diego Cocca out of nowhere, dude. Out of nowhere, unexpected, unannounced, pick up the pace and ended up winning the race. I mean, it hasn't been official yet, but it's pretty much out there. Everyone is saying that he's about to be announced as the next coach of El Tri. Um, and you and I had a discussion of the just right off the bat, Doña Fede was looking at two candidates with that were like all polar opposites in game style, and then adding this huge list of, I guess, potential coaches. It's also a sign of them not knowing what they want or where to look at. And then all of a sudden, going from almost, signing Guillermo Almada to turning around 180 degrees and then choosing Diego Cocca out of nowhere, um, just goes to show you that they're making a decision based on popularity, based on what's current, what's contemporary. I want to say,
Right.
and not necessarily looking into a future outlook of how is this decision going to impact the future of some of the young talent that we have out there, and then as well as is this the best choice or the best option for Mexico in this short World Cup cycle leading up to 2026?
Yeah, one of the big questions was: are they hiring a candidate now? Just for this short World Cup cycle, or are they really going to try to implement something long term? We've
Hmm.
discussed that. If you look at Spain, they have their tiki taka. If you look at Brazil, they have their yoga bonito. You look at England, they have their style of play. Germany, um,
Hmm.
there's the best teams in the world. France as well. You can look at them and you could say, they play a certain way. No matter if they're losing, no matter if they're winning, they always play a certain way, and it's that country's way, right? They've been implementing that formation, that way of that mindset, that play style, from the fuerzas básicas, the youth level, all the way up through the U17, youth 18, U19, U20, and all the way to the main team. Um,
Hmm.
that kind of helps, more than kind of, it helps the main team, because you go from one coach to another with the same mentality, right? The same, this is how we're going to play, this is our
Yep.
style, this is our country style, this is our tech, we played our strengths, this is what we're going to play towards. Mexico, for the longest time now, I don't know what's it been, maybe you could shed some light on this, but when's the last time Mexico had a style of play that you could really define and say, this is how Mexico plays?
I think it's been a while, dude. Like if we take a look, if we take a pat down memory lane and we go back, I don't know, 20, 25 years. Uh, it's been a while since we can safely say Mexico plays this way, or this is the style of the Mexican team. I do want to say that maybe last time we saw something that was implemented on every single level of the national team was maybe when La Volpe was around, and I would say that that's probably the most prevalent or consistent style of play for the next maybe 10 years. When you had La Volpe, and then you have Javier Aguirre, El Chapo de la Torre, Piojo Herrera, and I would say that they all play similarly in a way. Of course, having El Piojo Herrera and La Volpe to be the most aggressive ones, the most offensive ones, and they have very similar style of plays. Um, and then you look at Javier Aguirre and Chepo La Torre, who are essentially around the same game style. So it's been a while since we can safely say that Mexico knows what they're playing, and that the under 23, under 18s, under 15 coaches are essentially uh, building up the young players into that specific strategy or mindset, and as well as game style. So when they move up the ranks, once they reach the major team, right, they already know what they're supposed to be doing, what is expected out of them. And I think that this Diego Cocca choice, it's not necessarily a uh, is not the right decision to find or to reignite the Mexican style of play, because I don't think he's a coach for the long run, dude.
Yeah, I think he, like you mentioned earlier, he was probably the popular pick right now, right? He's come off
Mhm.
recently, two back to back, bicampeón with Atlas, and he started off hot here with Tigres this clausura 2023. Um, the funny thing, man, is that when he signed on with Tigres, they kind of directivos, everybody, all the heads there at Tigres kind of bent over backwards to give him what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
It was a big
Hmm.
signing. You got rid of Piojo Herrera to bring him in, and there was big aspirations for him. And now it's pretty much happened the same way with the Federación. They have this infatuation with Argentines. Here we go, another Argentino, and
I know, man.
they kind of bent over backwards to get this guy, right? Because I mean, it's being said that he won't start until La Clausura ends with Tigres, which is kind of in the early
Yeah.
summer. And there has been word that the reason they weren't signing or leaning towards Almada was because he wanted to stay with his team until Clausura ended, and
Hmm.
they didn't want to accommodate that. They wanted to tell him, come in now or don't, or you lose the job. And it looks like they pretty much uh, bend over to the wishes of Diego Cocca, and
Yeah.
he'll be staying with Tigres to the end of the clausura.
And to add to your point, it's also, I mean, it's not a lie that Diego Coca coached Cholos and Santos before he went to Atlas. And which means that he was, in cahoots or very close to Iraragorri and Jorge Hank from Cholos. So, you know, as you were saying, I think it's complete BS that Doña Fe y sus secuaces are piling up against Almada, and not being to not being open on being flexible with him, when Diego Coca is asking the same demands,
Right.
asking for the same thing, and they're just gonna go ahead and take it. The thing is that, in addition to what you mentioned, the other reports that I read out there was that uh, Diego Cocca does have a release clause with Tigres, but it was for a European team or another Mexican team. He did not have any release clause on going to a national team. So it makes it easier for eltri to snatch him without having to indemnize Tigres in any way. Uh,
Mm,
on the other hand, Almada, he did have a release clause for either the Uruguayan
mm,
or eltri. So if the job came up and he was chosen, uh, I guess whoever national team wanted him had to pay a fee for his service. So the likes of Iraragorri and Jorge Hank convinced Emilio Escarraga and the Necaxa guy and freaking Amari Vergara that, it's better not to deal with Tuzos and Chucho Martinez and try to get Almada from them, and just decided to say, you know what, out of the pool of candidates that we have, we, both of us, Iraragorri and Hank, know Diego Cocca. Diego Cocca might be an easy choice to get. He's popular. He's the most recent, I guess, back-to-back Liga MX champion. And he is in a platform like Tigres where, we can snatch him if we want to. So uh, Diego Cocca won the race. I mean, he didn't have to do that many PR stunts out there, just like a freaking Piojo.
Yeah, Piojo's pretty much trying to sell himself, giving everybody his CV, his resume, and yeah, poor guy
I
wasn't
know, dude.
ultimately the choice. Yeah, so it kind of comes back to La Federación pretty much, they said a lot a couple months ago how they were going to change and implement all this stuff, and they
Yeah,
kind of went back to their old corrupt ways, right? I mean, from the Comité
dude.
de Selección and having that connection with the members, two members of the Comité, to end up
Mhm.
signing with the guy they know, instead of
Exactly.
maybe looking outward. I don't know, man. Do you making some predictions here? Do you think this is a good uh, choice? A good, do you think he will kind of revitalize and implement a style to starting at the bottom, going up to the main team?
Uh, I honestly, I don't think so. Like, we haven't heard that much about his vision and plan for the national team, but I seriously doubt that he has a solid idea of how to make, a long-term impact on la selección mexicana and its under 23, under 18, and under 15 teams. Just because when he was at Cholos, when he was at Santos, when he was at Atlas, he wasn't known for pushing young talent out there on the pitch and, making sure that he had at least a couple of them playing out there. It's If you look at Atlas, he had to use some young players because it's Atlas. They didn't have that much money, and they were actually pursuing, the best or the brightest stars in Liga MX. Same thing with Cholos. Same thing with Santos. So it wasn't a situation of he is a strong, or he believes in, the academy process. It was more of a, this is what I have on my hands and I have to do something with it, right? And I have
Had no
to
other
make the
choice.
best
Yeah,
out of it. Exactly. And if you look at, he was with Tigres for like what, 3 months, not taking in consideration the last 2 months of last year. uh, but if you look at the 5-6 games that he's been coaching Tigres, the only young player that he's been using out is Jesus Garza, and it's just because Tigres doesn't have that big of a depth in terms of right backs, and he's the only one available. So it
right.
wasn't a situation of, hey, I'm pushing for young talent to come up. It was more of a, I don't have anyone else but him. So I don't think it's gonna make a change or an impact, or it's gonna be there's not a difference in here, man. I think it's gonna be the same. I honestly, seriously doubt that he has eltri's development or youth development in his best interest.
And that's kind of why a lot of fans were kind of pushing towards a Mexican coach, right? Because a Mexican coach is always
Yeah.
going to have that interest more so, especially someone like Nacho Ambriz, who's been, in Mexico for the longest time, coaching, almost every club in Mexico, has some European experience. This guy, Diego Cocca, though, yeah, I agree with you. He's probably just a band-aid at this point. The popular pick, to make La
Hmm.
Federación look good. They can say they interviewed plenty of prospects, but and candidates, but I mean, we all know they probably once they got that no from Almada, they probably got saw this guy, the Ococa, and thought, this is their man. It's probably easier just to go with him. He's coached in some big teams and some big leagues in Latin America. He's coached, in Colombia. He's coached in Argentina. Do you
Hmm.
think he has those connections to those bigger, Latin American teams that we could say Mexico can use those connections to maybe open up more friendlies with South American teams, or maybe try to get their clubs into more competitions with South American clubs?
See, I want to say yes, just because he was. I think he was a champion with Gimnasia, maybe, or I don't know who in Argentina. And I think he's
With
all right
Racing.
known in Argentina. Say what?
With Racing
With
Club.
Racing. There we go.
Yeah.
So I want to say that he's pretty much well known in Argentina at this point in time. But the thing is that I don't. He, I think he's the kind of coach who is just gonna put up with everything, right? The Doña Fede y sus secuaces that they're gonna tell him, look, man, we're gonna play in Dallas against freaking Guatemala. Deal with it, right? He's not gonna make a big fuss out of it. So I think he's just one of those coaches that he sticks to his gun, well, to the owner's gun, right? And tries to make the best out of it just to keep his job in any way. Like I seriously doubt he's gonna push back on. I don't want to play with the likes of Suriname. I want to play with at least Colombia, at least Uruguay, uh, Argentina, Brazil. Uh, but I seriously doubt it, man. I don't foresee him being a strong-willed coach and having Eltri's uh, future development in as a priority, or L3's long term goals in his priority list.
Yeah, it might be a Tata 2.0 situation here.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. I wouldn't doubt it.
It's going to be interesting to see his first press conference, what his comments are, what his plan
Right.
is for La Selección. Obviously, we'll give our reactions to that, and we'll kind of give our reactions to what we think is going to be long term for him. I think the first game for Mexico is in March. There you go. I think we'll wrap it up with that. So Diego Cocca, new coach for eltri. Wish him the best, but we really don't have high hopes. We've been hurt too often.
No.
Um,
You,
so
you
Adrian,
know what's the funnest part though?
what's up?
Is that he took a Piojo's job on Tigres, and he's taking his job from El Tri. And also, even more hilarious is that Piojo Herrera, was pushing for his exit to El Tri while at Tigres, and then this guy all of a sudden he's gonna go out to El Tri. So
Bad couple months for Piojo. Damn, that
I know,
sucks. Yeah, poor guy lost his job
man,
twice to the same guy. Damn.
I know.
All right, Adrian, as we
Jeez.
wrap up, man, where can our listeners find us?
If they want to see our pretty faces, they can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. If you're okay just listening to our wonderful voices, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast service you are a subscriber on. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, because we be posting some wild stuff out there.
Yes, sir. Make sure to follow us on your preferred platform, social media platform of choice. And Adrian, another interesting episode here with you, man. It's always a pleasure, man. See you in the next one, brother.
Always nice to see you, dude. Take it easy.
See you, man.